Now you're probably thinking, Brooke, how does this tie into love literally at all? Well, I'm finally getting to the point. All of this ties into the concept of self-love. Hello everybody and welcome to the 4th episode of the Behind HB podcast. Hi, hello, my name is Brooke, also known as Honeybrook, and I am your host. Now, today we are going to be talking about love being the key to all happiness and kind of just being the key to life. Now, interpret this how you want. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about more of like self-love and love towards the world, not really like romantic relationships. So if you were expecting that, I don't think this is the episode for you. But if you want to see that in a future episode, maybe we will incorporate that into season 2 possibly, or just a bonus episode if it gets a lot of requests. I honestly don't think that would be a bad topic. I have been single for almost 4 years, so I don't think I am qualified to be giving dating or love advice, but I can try my best. And I don't think anybody wants that from me though. But anyways, today we are going to be talking about love in 5 easy steps. You know, that's how I do it. And I also encourage you to take notes. But you obviously don't have to if you're listening while driving or doing something else. Honestly, these steps are just so easy to remember to where you really don't have to. But without further ado, let's get started. Also, before I start, if you see me looking down a lot, it's because I literally wrote the whole script down on my iPad. And if you're joining me on SoundCloud, you don't gotta worry about that. And I appreciate every single one of you being here, no matter where you're watching on. So, our first point, I feel like I always do that. I say I'm going to get started and then I get sidetracked. But anyways, okay, our first point is give up on the negativity and your words matter. When saying negative things, it's common knowledge that you are going to be attracting that into your life. Complaining gets you nowhere. I feel like we've talked about that multiple times, but I will come to the defense of complainers just for a second, because there can be times where you're in a sucky situation and you just feel like expressing that. That is 100% valid, and I'm mostly just talking about the people who are constantly finding something to be negative about. That is the mindset that we need to get out of. On the topic of that, one of my favorite quotes of all time, I literally don't even know who said it because this quote has just been with me for so long that I forgot who said it, but it's, stop being afraid of what could go wrong and think what could go right. Honestly, this quote has gotten me through so many difficult decisions I had to make, whether I wanted to take that leap of faith or not, or I don't know, I really just resonated with this quote because I feel like no matter what I do, I'm going to get some kind of clarity. If I want to take this next step, this could either go really good, or if it fails, then I know it wasn't meant to be, and it obviously failed. But then I have to decide for myself, do I want to get up and keep trying, or do I want to just accept fate and realize, okay, maybe this isn't going to work out. Maybe later down the line it'll be in the cards or something. In the end, though, I feel like no matter what, like I said before, I'm getting some kind of clarity. And it was the whole point of moving past rejection, and realizing that I have a fear of rejection, and then taking that leap of faith kind of helped me get out of that mindset in a way. But also, I feel like people say things just and don't think about the consequences. I'm just gonna give you an example. The people I work with, specifically the boys that I work with, we all share work trucks, right? And I kind of have my own truck, and then the other two they share, but we all, regardless, right? They're not the best, but they're supposed to be brand new, but they're not the best. They have their issues, but all cars do, right? There's nothing we can do about it. We're grateful just to even have them. They are super negative, no tea, no shade. This is they know they do this, and plus I don't even think they're watching, but they're super negative towards the trucks, where for me in my truck, that kind of scares me a little bit, because this truck is relying on getting me from point A to point B, and I just need to get there safely with God being on my side, right? That's all I can do at that point. But where they're always saying negative things towards this truck, and they're oh, this truck doesn't even run, blah blah blah, where with me, I never say anything like that. My truck most of the time runs just fine. Theirs always has more issues. Coincidence? I don't know. Believe me, I don't know, but I think that was the best example. And the first example I kind of thought of that like fit into thinking about consequences before you say things, specifically in the negative. Now you're probably thinking, Brooke, how does this tie into love literally at all? Well, I'm finally getting to the point. All of this ties into the concept of self-love. Hi, it's me again, and I'm currently editing this right now, and I wanted to add in here that the point that I just made didn't really come across as clear as I was hoping it would be. I was kind of hoping it would come across as like being appreciative for things and believing that your words have power, and if you are super positive towards a situation, or even if like you're being realistic and your realistic is more on the negative side, believe that those words have power over you and actually could affect your situation. And that is kind of what I was trying to get at. And then now we go into self-love. Now, back to the whole talking about negativity and stuff like that. I feel like when I would look in the mirror and I would see things about myself that I didn't like and I would speak it out loud, I saw it a lot more rather than when I kind of got out of that mindset and I was able to see the positives about myself. And then once I started acknowledging the positives, that mindset of like, okay, talking bad about myself, I started to get rid of those flaws. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's all about a mindset change. And it honestly was one of the hardest things to do because you're with the battle with your mind, it is one of the hardest battles to to ever fight. But if you don't love yourself first, how are you going to love other people? All right, moving on from number 1 to number 2. This one kind of goes hand in hand with point number 1, and that is replacing the negative with the positive. It takes a strong person to see the good within, and the only way I really transitioned out of that bad mindset of like saying bad things about myself was believing that those things actually were starting to come true, right? That kind of goes back to my first example about how their truck has more problems and mine has problems, but since I don't vocalize it, it runs a lot better than theirs, right? When you talk bad about yourself, it's almost like you're placing a jinx on yourself, and that right there will be the hardest thing to escape. For example, I used to say all the time, oh, my hair doesn't grow, my hair is so dead, blah, 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 right? Maybe that was true. Maybe I changed my mindset to believe my hair could grow, and then you know what happened? My hair, literally from elementary school all the way up to like early high school, my hair was like so short. It was literally like, it was crazy, right? Did not grow, never grew, right? I started believing, okay, maybe my hair could grow. You know what happened? I know it's like not much, but my hair grew, and that's all that matters. I believed that it could happen, and it happened. Unfortunately, though, I did have hair dysmorphia, so I couldn't actually see my results. So that really sucks. Like when my hair was like my desired length, like it was longer than this, right? And I couldn't see that. I still thought it was really short, and it was actually really devastating. But that stuff happens, though, and honestly, it sucks because we can't see past it until we get to a different point in our lives, and then we look back at pictures and it's like, oh yeah, like that actually was pretty good. So number 3 is going to be loving yourself first. This is a big one, and honestly, this is like, I feel like when you are trying to spread love into the world, it starts with yourself, and I know we touched on that on the past 2 points, but I know it's easier said than done, and I don't need to go too deep into this because like I said, the last 2 points were literally kind of explaining it more into it, but I felt like one point really needed to just emphasize that like self-love is so important, and it is not the easiest, but once you move past those battles, like it just, I feel like you will never go back to the place that you were before you had self-love, because now like it's almost like activating your inner goddess, right? Like you see yourself to such like a high standard now, and like you have so much like self-respect for yourself, and like you know how good you are. And see, everything is literally tied together. But loving yourself first, or self-love, is just such a big statement that everyone says that, like, oh, you should get over yourself and just do it. But fighting with your mind is one of the hardest battles you'll ever have to go through. Like I said before, imagine it like this. Your body does so much for you. Like, your body breathes on its own. Your brain literally controls everything, and you don't even have to tell it to do anything. Your organs do what they're supposed to do. Your body loves you so much. But when you look in the mirror, do you love yourself the same way that the thing that keeps you alive loves you back? I know that's kind of like a deep and big statement, but it's true. And I know people have probably heard that a bunch of times, and that is like one of the main like examples or whatever, but it's true. I mean, like, imagine like you were putting so much effort and like all your energy into this one like person or situation, and you got nothing back out of it. Like, if it's a person, they don't even know your name. They don't even know you exist. And if they do know you exist, they don't like you, even though you're putting all your time and love into this person. That's kind of how I think about it. Sorry, I feel like this episode is getting really deep, but it's true. And I feel like it's one of those things where it's like you have to like acknowledge it for yourself, and you may take as much time as you need, but once it happens, like you'll never go back. I feel like once you actually have self-love, that's when your healing journey kind of like starts, and it just continues for the rest of your life. Okay, so number 4, I had like 2 points for it, but I feel like they kind of go together, so I'm just gonna incorporate both of them. The first idea was surround yourself with good people. I feel like that's a given, but the second one was we all bleed the same shade. That is a that is a song title. If you know, you know, but I mean, I think it's so true, because at the end of the day, like, I know that is not exactly what that statement means, but if you really think about it, we are all the same person. We all are one. We all are potentially living in a simulation, and the end goal is coming together and uniting to, I know, literally this episode is all over the place, but at the end of the day, we are all one, we are all united, and people will show their true colors to you. So recently I took a DEI class not too long ago, and the instructor really said something that like resonated with me, that don't be afraid to give people the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, people will show their true colors to you. Like, if they have bad intentions, they will admit it, whether they plan to or not. Once like you gain that self-love and you kind of are able to read people better because you understand yourself and your emotions, so then you can kind of project that onto other people. And like I said, don't be afraid to give people the benefit of the doubt, because you'll know for yourself if they're a good person or not, and they like, because then you can see through them, you know. But also, people are going to eventually reveal their intentions, whether they're good or not. Hopefully they'll always be good, but sometimes those people who you think you're surrounding yourself with that are good, they end up not being so good. But don't be afraid to just always be kind. I mean, don't let people take advantage of you, but at the same time, be true to yourself, and you'll get your own clarity if they're a good person or not. I feel like all of these points are kind of just like the same thing in this episode, and I'm just kind of like repeating myself and saying different things, but at the same time, the topic and the like context of it all relates to each other. And with our final point being number 5, and that's we are all human. Love is something that we all want. And I feel like that just goes back and kind of relates to all the points, to where we all want to feel wanted somewhere. We all want to feel included. Like, at the end of the day, when we're all gonna die. We've all been born. We all are living on this planet together. But emphasis on when we all die and we're all reunited once again, there's gonna be nothing but love there. No matter what you believe in, it's only gonna be love. And I feel like, why not implement that to your everyday life? Like, why wait until you've passed away and gone on to another life, or you've gone on to your last life and now you're living in like eternity. Like, we are here on this planet to spread love because we are all united, if that makes sense. But anyways, that is kind of all I have for this week. I feel like the more I talk about this, the more I'm repeating myself. So I think this would be a good opportunity to kind of wrap it up and end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this episode, I'm so glad. If you stayed till this long, I'm so glad. If you are watching on YouTube, actually on SoundCloud, I figured out recently that you can comment. So how about we do a little something, and if you stayed till this very moment, comment the red heart, and let me know if you stayed till this long. Let me know if you have any other like topics. I will try my best to like take requests and talk about topics but I try and go off of things like that I practice what I preach or what I want to get better at, and kind of advice that I need to hear. So I am definitely open to requests. But we are wrapping up season 1 in just a few episodes. We are on episode 4 and there's 7 episodes in season 1. So the more I do this, the more I feel like there is a high chance of there being a season 2. And in season 2, I definitely want to have like guests, maybe step it up a little bit, learn more about the podcast industry to obviously get better at it. But right now, I really like what I'm doing and I can't complain, honestly. So with that being said, make sure you make sure you subscribe or follow wherever you're watching or listening. Please go check out my main YouTube channel. I will leave all of that in the description. And if you're watching on SoundCloud, I don't know if I could leave links, but it's just at Honeybrook. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget, spread love wherever you go.